Okay, I don't know if we're going to do this. We have technical problems once again, but let's see. This is the Mop Up. I'm David Feldman in New York City. Thank you so much for finding me. The Trump administration reportedly preparing to cut all federal funding for the state of California. California's Governor Gavin Newsom warning Trump that California pays close to $100 billion more in taxes than it gets back from the federal government. Newsom adding, maybe we'll defend you. All right, let's see here. We're getting, well, that's not what I wanted. I knew we were going to have, here we go. Okay. Donald Trump threatening to call in the National Guard as we're seeing massive protests this weekend following ICE raids in Los Angeles, resulting in the arrest of nearly 44 people accused of being in this country illegally. Also arrested Friday was union leader David Huerta. He's the president of SEIU, California. Huerta, an American citizen, arrested by ICE agents. ICE agents caught on video roughing up the union leader while they were arresting him. California House Democrat Gil Cisneros, who represents parts of Los Angeles, saying Huerta had to be hospitalized after the arrest due to ICE agents first tasing Huerta and then shoving him to the ground where his head hit the cement. While being arrested, Huerta can be heard pleading with ICE agents not to pin his neck and shoulder to the ground. Huerta telling them, you're aggravating a previous injury. Please stop. But they didn't. Huerta is an American citizen, union president. He will appear in federal court Monday, charged with interfering with federal police by blocking their vehicle from entering a work area they planned to raid. All this despite, once again, Los Angeles being a sanctuary city where local law enforcement, school, and every other Los Angeles government official is officially forbidden from assisting ICE in the roundup of undocumented Americans. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass posted on X Friday night complaining about the ICE raids, saying, quote, as mayor of a proud city of immigrants who contribute to our city in so many ways, I am deeply angered by what has taken place. We will not stand for this. FBI Director Kash Patel shot back, we will stand for this. Los Angeles Police Chief Jim McDonnell announcing his department has not assisted ICE in these roundups. LA Police Chief Jim McDonnell telling reporters, quote, while the LAPD will continue to have a visible presence in all our communities to ensure public safety, we will not assist or participate in any sort of mass deportations, nor will the LA Police Department try to determine an individual's immigration status. According to the law in Los Angeles, all city employees are forbidden from asking anybody what their immigration status is. As I said, Friday night, federal ICE agents arrested close to 50 people in Los Angeles, including union leader David Huerta, an American citizen. The roundups continued on Saturday, but not before Los Angelinos took to the streets protesting the ICE raids, which Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is now calling an attempt by the Trump administration to sow terror in the community. The British newspaper Independent reporting ICE began the raids after a federal judge issued search warrants saying there was probable cause to believe the owner of a warehouse in Los Angeles's fashion district was employing Americans without documentation. I will try to find out if the owner of that warehouse was arrested or just the people working for them. The Department of Homeland Security claiming 1,000 Los Angelinos surrounded a federal building during these arrests. The Department of Homeland Security claiming ICE agents were assaulted. The Los Angeles Police Department, however, arrested none of the protesters. Too bad they can't arrest ICE agents. The Los Angeles Times reporting shouts in Spanish of ICE, get out, could be heard throughout all of Los Angeles. Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin telling reporters on Saturday she's offended by how Los Angeles protesters compared ICE agents to Nazis and the Gestapo. Border czar, speaking of the Gestapo, Border czar Tom Homan announcing he's ready to send in the National Guard to protect ICE agents in Los Angeles and restore order. Not sure you have the authority to send in the National Guard. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, who along with Tom Homan helped devise the family separation policy in the previous Trump administration, now calling the protests in Los Angeles an insurrection. I will have more on this homunculus, Stephen Miller, more later in the show on Stephen Miller. Well, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard reported that she's concerned by how Donald Trump ignores and or cancels her daily intelligence briefings on global hotspots like Ukraine, Gaza, China, Russia, and Iran. So, in order to get Trump to pay attention to her intelligence briefings, Tulsi Gabbard is reportedly no longer putting her intelligence briefings into writing. Instead, she's producing videos in the style of Fox News. In other words, in order to get Donald Trump to pay attention, she's going to lie. Meanwhile, Trump ordering an investigation into Joe Biden and the Biden White House, accusing them of covering up Joe Biden's mental decline. Nobody in the Trump White House can ever be accused of covering up Donald Trump's mental decline because he doesn't hire miracle workers. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the El Salvadoran immigrant with protected legal status, accidentally deported to that notorious prison in El Salvador, back in the United States, now sitting inside a Nashville, Tennessee federal prison, charged by the Justice Department with conspiring to sneak undocumented immigrants into America. Announcing Garcia's return to face trial, Attorney General Pam Bondi said this is what justice looks like. No, it doesn't. Bondi on Friday calling Garcia, quote, a danger to the community. And then she brought up unsubstantiated claims that Garcia was a leader inside MS-13, that he was personally responsible for the murder of a gang member's mother, and that he trafficked in child pornography. When a reporter asked if Garcia is responsible for murder, child pornography, if he's the leader of MS-13, why didn't your indictment include any of those charges? Attorney General Pam Bondi said, no further questions, and walked out of the room. Bondi, the moment Garcia was accidentally deported, kept repeating the charge that he was a member of MS-13. She insisted, despite ICE admitting they made a mistake, she kept insisting that Garcia belonged in that El Salvadoran prison because she said he's a dangerous gang member. This despite Garcia having been granted protected legal status in 2019 by a judge, specifically because he wasn't a gang member and it was too dangerous for him to go back to El Salvador. Now, our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, saying Garcia is a murderer who traffics in child pornography. On the subject of granting due process to people like Garcia, our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said, and I quote, our priority is national security and the safety of our citizens. The courts should not handcuff law enforcement with unnecessary due process for people here illegally, unquote. Well, Garcia wasn't here illegally. He was given protected legal status in 2019. Our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, went on to say, quote, especially those linked to gangs. We should not be providing due process to those linked to gangs, like Garcia, unquote. Again, he was granted protected legal status specifically because he wasn't linked to any gangs. Our Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said, quote, the law is clear. We have the right here at the Justice Department to remove dangerous individuals quickly and decisively without due process, unquote. The law is very clear. You do not, Pam Bondi. Jay Weaver, writing at the Miami Herald, that a group made up of 70 lawyers, including professors, public attorneys, and former Florida Supreme Court justices, just filed an ethics complaint against Bondi with the Florida Bar Association, accusing her of committing, quote, serious professional misconduct that threatens the rule of law and the administration of justice. The complaint alleges that Bondi fired Justice Department lawyer Erez Ravini, accusing him of sabotaging the Trump administration's case against Garcia when he argued before a federal judge that Garcia should not have been deported and that, he said, according to ICE, he ended up in El Salvador due to an administrative error. So that you have Ravini, this guy, Erez Ravini, working for the Justice Department, telling the judge, yes, it was a mistake. Ravini told the judge, the Justice Department agrees Garcia doesn't belong in that prison, but now he must, this was his argument, but now he must be kept there due to jurisdictional issues. In other words, his argument was, we made a mistake, but it's out of our hands now. He's in the custody of El Salvador. Well, Pam Bondi, infuriated by Ravini, and fired him, and then she fired off a memo telling all Justice Department attorneys, you must advocate zealously for your client. And whom might that client be, you might ask? Donald Trump. Anything else you'd like to add, Attorney General Pam Bondi?
I suggest using activated charcoal along with 2 scoops of baking soda and an odor neutralizing spray. If the stench still lingers, it might be time to spring for a new love doll.
All right, this is the Mop-Up. I'm David Feldman in New York City. Thank you so much for finding me. Please like this episode so I remain in your feed. Share it with your friends. It's hard to get the word out on these types of shows. They throttle back information, so the more you can help get the word out, I would appreciate it. Well, I have a correction. Thanks to one of my listeners who pointed out on the last program I was incorrect in saying 10 times $1.5 billion is $15.5 billion. Turns out it's $15 billion, and I had a triple check. I could have sworn it was $15.5 billion, but then I did the math 3 times, which I'm not good at. No, it comes out to $15 billion. Thank you to my listener for pointing that out. That is especially humbling. This mistake is especially humbling since I made it while correcting Education Secretary Linda McMahon's math when she testified up on Capitol Hill last week. I took delight in pointing out that her math was incorrect. Well, so was mine. She said 10 times $1.5 billion is $15.5 billion. $1.5 trillion. She said it was $1.5 trillion. I said it was $1.5 billion. Or $15 billion. Anyway, I made a mistake. Thank you for correcting me. I still believe people in glass houses like me should throw stones, but you should admit it when you make a mistake. So I made a mistake. I invite all of you to leave a comment. Correct me when I get my facts wrong. If my math is correct, I'm pretty sure, and I did the math before the show started. If my math is correct, this program is a one-man band. I counted, I think there's just one person here. So feel free to correct both my facts and my opinions. Facts are the basic building blocks of truth, while truth and only truth can be the basic building blocks of opinion. That's why it's getting harder to find shows like this right now. I have another correction. On the last program, I misstated how much Elon Musk last Thursday lost when shares in Tesla plunged 14% due to his big blow-up with Donald Trump. I made two math mistakes on the last show. So, Tesla's entire market cap lost $110 billion on Thursday. Musk doesn't own all the stock in Tesla, so he didn't lose $110 billion that day. He lost $34 billion that day, thanks to one of my listeners for pointing out how egregiously wrong my math was. I apologize for these two mistakes. I can assure all my listeners I will continue to make more mistakes, and when I do, I will correct them. Why? Because I have a perverse pleasure when my listeners correct my facts. So I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. The Musk-Trump blow-up settling down a little bit, much as I told you it would, but then it blew back up again because the media can't let it go. But it does seem to be settling a little. Politico reporting there are signs of a truce between the two man-babies, with top White House officials saying they're working to schedule a call between the two men. Well, if Trump could get Xi on the phone last week, who knows? Maybe he and Musk can actually talk. CBS reporting Musk took back Thursday's threat to decommission the SpaceX rockets used to bring astronauts home from the International Space Station and leave them stranded to punish Donald Trump. On Thursday, Musk warned Trump that he would do that. He would decommission the rockets right after Trump threatened to cancel all of Elon Musk's government contracts. But by Friday afternoon, Donald Trump telling CNN, I feel sorry for Musk. He called him a man with serious problems. Trump adding, I'm not even thinking about him. Sure you're not. While he's saying he's not thinking about Elon Musk, he ordered his staffers to leak that Trump was getting rid of the Tesla he recently purchased and had been leaving parked outside the Oval Office to help boost lagging sales. He's not thinking about him. Billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, who threatened to sue Business Insider after they accurately reported about how his trophy wife, Neri Oxman, plagiarized her doctoral dissertation for MIT. Yes, that Bill Ackman, taking to Twitter Friday, trying to make peace, telling his followers, and he has quite a few, telling his followers that he supports Musk and he supports Trump. Quote, they should make peace for the benefit of our great country because we are much stronger together than apart. You mean the richest 1% are much stronger together than apart. Musk responded to billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, who, did I mention, sued Business Insider for accurately reporting on Ackman's trophy wife plagiarizing her MIT doctoral dissertation. Did I mention that? Try to put Business Insider out of business for accurately reporting that his trophy wife plagiarized her MIT doctoral dissertation. This while he and Stefanik were going after university presidents for their plagiarism. Anyway, Musk responded to Bill Ackman. Did I mention his wife admitted to plagiarizing her doctoral dissertation at MIT and threatened to sue Business Insider for reporting that? Did I mention that? Anyway, Musk responded to Bill Ackman by tweeting, "You're not wrong." In other words, you're not wrong. I should get back together with Donald Trump. So obviously signs of a thaw between Musk and Trump as the rage tweeting, because their joysticks don't work properly, their rage tweeting seems to have, much like their joysticks, subsided. This is what you do. You rage tweet when your joystick doesn't work and you have to have 20 kids through artificial insemination. So it was subsiding. Then Meet the Press's Kristen Welker had to get on the phone Saturday with Donald Trump and stir it back up. You know, instead of asking Trump about the really important stuff, you know, like most experts agreeing that because of Trump and Musk cutting U.S. aid massively, because of them, 300,000 people worldwide have died this year so far due to starvation and lack of medicine. It is estimated because of Elon Musk and Donald Trump's massive cuts to U.S. aid, 109 people die every hour because they're starving to death or they don't get their AIDS medication. So did Kristen Welker from Meet the Press have any breaking news on that? Of course not, because that's not what keeps people watching Meet the Press. So she asked Trump, "Hey, I notice you haven't been rage tweeting at Musk for 12 hours. How's your relationship?" Well, everything was quieting down between them. So she had to I have friends like this, right? This is how you get divorces, by having friends like Kristen Welker. Trump told Kristen Welker his relationship with Musk was over. "I have no interest in ever speaking to him again." Well, of course he's going to say that. If everybody just ignored this, and we can't, the two of them would move on and get back to destroying the country in tandem instead of destroying the country separately. Welker asked, what would happen if Musk continued? This is what they pass off as news, right? What would happen theoretically if Musk continued to fight your budget bill or begin supporting Democrats, giving money to Democrats instead of Republicans? Tell me what would happen so we'd have a lead story to grab eyeballs. And Trump said, well, if that happened, I haven't heard that he will, but if he does, he'll have to pay the consequences for that. He'll have to pay very serious consequences if he does that. You see the media just stirring up the crap. So Musk responded Saturday by angrily taking to Twitter, making more accusations about Trump, but then wisely deleting his posts. Musk is deleting his Twitter posts. He should delete Twitter, but he's deleting some of his angry tweets directed at Donald Trump because someone finally got the right balance for Musk, you know, the right amount of Adderall, ketamine, and MDMA. So, CNN reporting that most of Musk's Thursday tweets have now been deleted. But according to CNN, he has yet to take down the angry tweets criticizing President Trump's budget bill. He's still calling it a disgusting abomination. One of those tweets that Musk deleted called for Trump's impeachment, saying this country would be better off with J.D. Vance as president. Well, J.D. Vance taped an interview Saturday with renowned public intellectual Theo Von, and J.D. Vance was asked about this, and he called Musk's suggestion that Trump get impeached and have Trump be replaced by J.D. Vance. He called it insane. Then again, so is the vice president of the United States going on a talk show hosted by a functional illiterate like Theo Von. One of the dumbest people in the world, Theo Von. So, of course, he's a superstar. Am I jealous? No. Him I'm not jealous of. I'm only jealous of talented people. Like, Mark Maron, I'm jealous of. I'm jealous of people who have talent. Vance adding it might be too late for Elon Musk to be welcomed back into Trump's orbit, considering how nuclear Musk and his behavior have become in the past week. But Trump, as I've pointed out, he forgives. He's forgiving. In fact, Vance once compared Donald Trump to Hitler, but Trump picked him as his running mate. After Vance convinced him, when I called you Hitler, that was a compliment. It was Musk, along with Peter Thiel, Tucker Carlson, and Donald Trump Jr., who were instrumental in convincing Trump to pick J.D. Vance as his running mate. Let me go a little large here. This is a close-up of what J.D. Vance sees every morning when he looks in the mirror. This is what he sees. And maybe you think this is childish, doing this to his face, but this is how I cope, okay? This is how I cope. Getting out my painting little mustaches on Kellyanne Conway and putting boils all over, a plague of boils all over the racist face of the racist J.D. Vance. This is the face of racism. He is a racist. He is a lying racist. He's the vice president of the United States. Well, Donald Trump attempting now to shrug off the dust up with, this is how I cope, okay? It's amazing I can get out of bed in the morning, so this is how I cope. Sue me. Donald Trump attempting to shrug off the would you rather I drink again? Remember what that was like? Trump attempting to shrug off the dust up with Elon Musk. According to Politico, Trump telling close associates privately, that Musk is quote unquote crazy and blaming his erratic behavior on excessive drug use. So Musk really is like a son to him. Those comments, fresh off a New York Times expose suggesting Musk's abuse of ketamine has resulted in bladder control issues for the tech billionaire. The Times reporting Musk, by the way, ladies, if he offers some artificial insemination, you might want to double check that it's sperm, given his bladder control issues. He's a neo-Nazi. He gave money to the Alternative for Germany party and said the Germans have to stop feeling guilty over the Holocaust. He's a neo-Nazi, Elon Musk. Where am I? The Times reporting Musk openly admitting to treating his depression with ketamine while also relying heavily, he says, on psychedelics, Adderall, and ecstasy. Really, I wouldn't have ever suspected that you were on those drugs. Well, after that story broke in the New York Times, Musk fired back on Twitter, quote, "I am not taking drugs." Really? Because judging by this picture, you sure have a monkey on your back. It's a cute kid, actually. The New York Times reporting ketamine is a controlled substance and excessive use often results in hallucinations that result in a detachment from reality. Elon Musk, detached from reality. Who would have ever guessed? The New York Times' Jonathan Swan aboard Air Force One Friday night asked Trump to comment on these reports that the president was secretly accusing Elon Musk of being a drug addict. And Trump, in his inimitable fashion, said, quote, I don't want to comment. He's the best. He really is. He says, I don't want to comment on his drug use. He didn't say, I don't know if he's a drug addict. He said, I don't want to comment on his drug use. He said, I read that article in the New York Times, and it was so unfair. So unfair. Didn't say it was incorrect. Said it was unfair. So unfair. Steve Bannon calling for Trump to launch an investigation into Musk's immigration status and then deport him. As we all know, Elon Musk came to America on a student visa, but didn't go to school. Instead, he went to work. And Steve Bannon, the heart and soullessness of MAGA, calling for Musk to be deported. Bannon telling the Atlantic magazine's Jonathan Lemire that if Musk wants to go to war with Trump, Musk will lose. Bannon telling Atlantic, quote, only the fanboys are going to stick with Musk. He's right now a man without a country, unquote. Musk responded by calling Bannon a communist. Musk and Bannon have been going at it all year, partly over the tariffs. Musk opposes the tariffs so vociferously it led to punches getting thrown. He got into a fist fight with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who supports the tariffs wholeheartedly. Based on conversations with 17 White House staffers, the Washington Post has new reporting today that says this is how the fight started in the White House. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, walked out of the Oval Office with Elon Musk and said to him, you don't know what you're doing. You promised to find $1 trillion in cuts, and you came up empty because, quote, you're a fraud, a total fraud. Then, according to the Washington Post, Elon Musk assumed the position of a rugby player and shoved his shoulder into Scott Bessent's chest, just ran into him like a rugby player. And Scott Bessent, according to the Washington Post, punched Elon Musk. The two men, well, I don't know if they're men, began wrestling and were eventually separated by White House staffers, and Elon Musk was led off the premises. Bannon also supports the tariffs like Scott Bessent does, and Bannon hates Musk, hates the tariffs, hates Musk. He calls Musk a globalist and a monopolist and said the Department of Government Efficiency is merely performative bull. You know what comes next. Bull Trump. Bull Trump. Bannon, right after this year's inauguration, called Elon Musk a racist who is truly evil and a parasitic illegal immigrant, adding, quote, white South Africans are the most racist people on earth. Bannon said, quote, why do we have South Africans, the most racist people on earth, white South Africans? Why do we have them making any comments at all on what goes on in the United States? Well, Steve Bannon's pretty smart, and he should know his history, that apartheid began in the late 40s, 48 or 49. And in order to set it up, South Africa studied the Jim Crow South. So South Africa, yes, very racist, but we have our own history to deal with. When Hitler was writing up the Nuremberg laws that advocated race science, they were studying laws on the books in Jim Crow South, okay? But we can't teach that in Florida because it makes white people uncomfortable. Well, like I said, Steve Bannon has repeatedly called for Trump to deport Musk. He's saying deport Musk, marking the first time this virulently racist Steve Bannon ever told a white person to go back to Africa. Steve Bannon has told plenty of black people that. This is the first time he ever said to a white person, go back to Africa. There's always a first. The Trump-Musk blow-up began last week after Musk began telling Republicans to kill the budget bill, calling it gross and disgusting, saying it doesn't cut the social safety net nearly enough and will only increase our national debt. But Steve Scalise, Republican House Majority Leader, telling NBC News Musk isn't going to change any House Republicans' votes. We do what Trump wants, not Musk. Scalise saying nobody listens to Musk on Capitol Hill. That being said, 13 House Republicans stepped up Friday, calling for a change in the 2026 budget bill, a change that would benefit Tesla's bottom line significantly. The bill that passed in the House targets electric vehicles. And most importantly for Elon Musk and his struggling Tesla, the bill eliminates the sale of what are called clean energy tax credits. To put it simply, because of Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which was signed into law, I believe, in 2022, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, Tesla gets enormous tax breaks thanks to it relying on green energy. Those tax breaks come in the form of what are called clean energy tax credits, which can then be sold to auto companies or any other company, for that matter, that isn't green enough. A corporation, I know this is boring. I know this is incredibly boring. I'll be done in 15 seconds. A corporation can purchase green energy tax breaks in order to pay fewer taxes. That's what a lot of corporations are doing. They're buying clean energy tax breaks or tax credits from Tesla so they can pay fewer taxes and at the same time lay claim to being environmentally sound. Tesla makes hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars each quarter selling these green energy tax credits to polluters. Tesla's carbon credit revenue for 2024 was $2,760 million for all of 2024. That's a lot of money for Tesla, which is struggling. In the first quarter of 2025, Tesla made $600 million. Just in the first 3 months of 2025 alone, Tesla made $595 million selling green energy tax credits to corporate polluters. So the bill that passed in the House eliminates that income stream for Tesla. But now 18 House Republicans, who Steve Scalise says they don't listen to Musk, they don't care about Musk, well, they're now calling vehemently for the Senate to put those tax credits back into the budget. So they're still listening to Elon Musk. Obviously, they are listening to Elon Musk, the single largest contributor last year to the Republican Party, who let everyone know Thursday, had it not been for me, Republicans would have lost control of the House and Democrats would have kept the Senate and the White House. Musk now threatening to leave the Republican Party and creating a third party he'd call the American Party. Well, how bad could it get for Musk if he doesn't settle down? Most people, and I think Musk is included in that, most people believe Trump holds all the cards here, that you cannot go up against the President of the United States. Eric Lipton and Kenneth Chang, writing in the New York Times, Trump could do to Musk basically what he's attempting to do to Harvard, and that is attempt to defund all of Musk's business with the United States government. According to their latest article in the Times, SpaceX, just this year alone, has got nearly $4 billion in business from the United States government. Ah, yes, private enterprise, the evil federal government. The government never creates jobs. That's what they tell us. SpaceX would be nothing without NASA and the Pentagon. SpaceX has collected so far $28 billion in contracts from the federal government. But it's the federal government doesn't create jobs. Blow me. You might recall when this fight started, Trump tweeted out that if Musk is so worried about the budget bill and the budget deficit, maybe I'll cut costs by canceling all of his government contracts, adding, I'm surprised Joe Biden didn't do that. Musk then reminded Trump that SpaceX is the only way NASA can get astronauts to and from the International Space Station. While Musk was rage tweeting Thursday, he threatened to leave astronauts stranded in space. But he says he doesn't do drugs. Christian Davenport writing in the Washington Post that officials deep inside NASA and the Pentagon now urging Trump to find alternatives to SpaceX, warning that the Pentagon relies on Musk to launch spy satellites, and NASA relies on Musk to retrieve astronauts aboard the space station. It's worth mentioning that SpaceX is tasked with assisting in classified missions for the Pentagon and NASA, despite Elon Musk unable to qualify for security clearance here in the United States as well as Israel. He can't get security clearance from Israel or the United States, reportedly due to both his drug use, his alleged drug use, and his close relationships with Vladimir Putin and the leaders of China. Joseph Menn, writing in the Washington Post, that Elon Musk, his DOGE staff, and top advisors inside the Trump administration ignored warnings from White House communications experts that they were opening the White House up to a massive national security threat by installing Elon Musk's Starlink satellites right next to the Oval Office atop the Eisenhower Executive Office building. That was back in February of this year, and they ignored those warnings. We can trust Elon. We can trust Starlink. So, some saying the real reason behind Musk turning on Trump was the White House's sudden decision to pull billionaire and Musk friend Jared Isaacman's nomination to head NASA. Jared Isaacman is a billionaire. He has close ties to Musk. He works with SpaceX. He's trying to financialize commercial space travel with Elon Musk. In fact, back in 2001, thanks to Elon Musk, Jared Isaacman got to be an astronaut, although with those Dumbo ears, I doubt this guy needs a Falcon rocket to achieve liftoff. Jesus. Anyway, at the last minute, Trump pulled Isaacman's nomination, with the White House putting out the story that Trump didn't trust him. Well, why didn't he trust him? The spin was, well, Isaacman contributed to Democratic candidates. But Isaacman telling reporters after his nomination got pulled, I donate to both parties, and Trump knows that. Trump knew I donated to some Democratic candidates, and he nominated me anyway, but now for some reason, he's yanked me. And there are some reporting that when Isaacman got yanked, Musk turned apoplectic. He called it a personal slap in the face. He's taking it personally. By the way, why do we need spy satellites to listen in on the Russians when we've got Jared Isaacman's ears? We don't need spy satellites. This guy can hear a tick's queef in Romania. A tick's queef in Romania. And I wonder why I'm not successful and Theo Von is. So, why Trump's sudden decision to yank Isaacman? Well, to slap Musk in the face. Probably because Isaacman is in business with Elon Musk. Not because there's an obvious conflict of interest, having the head of NASA doing business with SpaceX and thereby profiting off NASA contracts with SpaceX. Trump has no problem with that. That's not why Trump killed the nomination. The only thing about that is Trump is upset that he's not getting a cut. Although there's reason to believe Don Jr., Dopey as I call him, is in fact cashing in on SpaceX and the Golden Dome. There are reports that Don Jr.'s participation in a private equity firm called 1789 Capital is going to make Don Jr. some money because 1789 Capital holds a huge stake in SpaceX. And recently they brought Don Jr. in as a partner after Daddy got the presidency again. 1789 Capital hired Don Jr. He would have gotten that on his own. God, Don Sr. is so lucky to have a son like Don Jr. Jonathan Swan of the New York Times on board Air Force One, asking Trump if he's thinking about pulling the plug on Musk's government contracts. Trump responded, quote, "We'll take a look at everything. I look at everything. He's got a lot of money. He gets a lot of subsidies, so we'll take a look at that. But only if it's fair, for the country. I would certainly think about pulling his contracts, but it has to be fair." Yeah. It's all about fairness. The Times also reporting that besides relying on government contracts, Musk is also dependent on Trump's Justice Department, as well as several other agencies, including the Transportation Department, the Labor Department, the FAA, the FDA, the EEOC, the OPP. The OPP. No, that's not a government agency, but it should be. Crack down on adultery. There should be an OPP. I've had it with people committing adultery. And the Defense Department. He's reliant on these Trump agencies to drop several ongoing criminal and civil investigations into Musk's portfolio of businesses that include Tesla, SpaceX, Twitter, Neuralink, and Boring. He has a company called Boring. They produce my show, Boring. No, they're digging tunnels. CNN reporting that Stephen Miller's wife, yes, sorry, ladies, Stephen Miller's taken. Stephen Miller's taken. CNN reporting that Stephen Miller's wife, Katie, yes, with whom he has 3 little children, I'm sorry. Katie Miller has left her White House job to go work for Elon Musk. Now, one anonymous Trump advisor telling CNN, quote, Katie has to choose between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It can't be both. She's in a bind, right? She's left the White House and Stephen Miller to go work for Elon Musk. Well, Katie Miller had been working inside the White House as an advisor and spokesperson for Doge. It's pronounced Doge. One of my listeners say, why do you call it Doja? I don't know. I'm stupid. It's pronounced Doge. Well, Katie Miller, who's married to the homunculus, the race scientist, Stephen Miller, she when she left Doge and she left the White House, it's pronounced Doge, not Doja, and it's pronounced the White House, not the White House. Is that how the silent E's work? I need some ketamine. Is anybody still here? If so, why? Anyway, Musk took Katie Miller with him to work as his communication director for his private companies. So, if the feud between Musk and Trump continues, and personally I don't think it will, but if it continues, then Katie Miller will also have to choose between Elon Musk and that hunk of a disgorged phallus. He looks like a disgorged phallus, Stephen Miller. Well, the Millers were married in 2020. They met while she was working inside the Trump White House's Department of Homeland Security. Stephen Miller, of course, back then, invented the Department of Homeland Security's family separation policy during the first Trump administration. Apparently that's what gets you laid. That's what turns on, hey, see those babies crying when we pull them from their mother's breast? I did that. So you might ask, what kind of woman marries Stephen Miller? According to CNN, Jacob Soboroff, in his book Separated, which is about the family separation policy, in Jacob Soboroff's book Separated, he quotes Katie Miller as saying, quote, this is incredible. This is what she said. This is Stephen Miller's wife. They have 3 kids together. She said, quote, my family and colleagues told me that when I have kids, I'll think about the family separation policy differently. But I don't think so. The Department of Homeland Security sent me to the border to see the family separations for myself, to try to make me more compassionate, but it didn't work, unquote. And now, ironically, these two might be separated. Her family might be separated. They should separate those 3 children from the 2 of them. Somebody should do a welfare check on those kids. How am I doing on time? All right, I'll wrap it up. Close to wrapping it up. Wired reporting that the internet, now buzzing with conspiracy theories, that the blow-up between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is contrived. Some calling it not 3D chess, but 5D chess, because they're so brilliant. Others calling it a psyops at its finest in order to distract Americans from, well, you name it. Why? Why are they saying this? Well, on Saturday, Musk tweeted, "I will apologize profusely as soon as there's a full dump of the Epstein files." You might remember on Thursday, Elon Musk said the reason the Epstein files have not been released is because Trump's all over them. Well, he's deleted that tweet, and then yesterday he said, I will apologize for that tweet profusely as soon as there's a full dump of the Epstein files. Remember, everybody thought there was a full dump of the Epstein files, but it turned out to be Stephen Miller's face. So, yeah. I'm not better than that. I'm not. I can't do any better than that. Stephen Miller. Where am I? One QAnon conspiracist with 300,000 followers on Twitter, that's all, now claiming Musk's alleging that Trump's all over the Jeffrey Epstein files. That Musk is claiming that Trump is all over the Jeffrey Epstein files in order to trick Democrats into demanding that the Epstein files be released, so Democrats will be humiliated when it's discovered that Trump is not all over the Jeffrey Epstein files. This is an amazing theory that Elon Musk said to Trump, I got a great plan. We'll have a fallout. I'll say you're all over the Epstein files, and then the Democrats will demand that they be released, and then when they discover that you're not all over the Epstein files, boy, will they be humiliated. It's a wonderful QAnon theory. The problem with it, though, one little tiny problem. Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, she's our Attorney General, our FBI Director, Kash Patel, and Assistant FBI Director, Dan Bongino, they control the Epstein files. And they all promised to release them, unredacted, and they haven't. This has nothing to do with tricking the Democrats into forcing Trump to release the Epstein files. They could be released right now because all Donald Trump has to say is release the Epstein files. He and Musk don't have to stage WrestleMania 47 in order to trick anyone into demanding that they show the world what's really in the Epstein files. You could just release them. You could just release the Epstein files. But they haven't. They promised they would. What's in them? What's in them? Right before becoming our nation's Attorney General, Pam Bottle Blonde Bondi accused the FBI of withholding from the public thousands of pages inside the Epstein files. And one of the very first things she did after getting sworn in as Attorney General was inviting a dozen or so pundits from the right-wing blogosphere. She invited them to the White House, whereupon they were handed bounded copies of the newly released Epstein files with a cover letter assuring them that Donald Trump will be the most transparent president in American history. Well, he is the most transparent president in American history because all of us see right through him, including the people who voted for him. We know he's a liar. Even the people who support Trump know the man's a pathological liar. But they vote for him anyway because they're nihilists. nihilists who want to own the libs by pretending he's telling the truth. They want to take a wrecking ball, not just to reality and the planet, but to their own lives as well, because they hate everything and everyone, including themselves. They really do. They really do. And by the way, this is not obscene. This is, it may be artificial stupidity or artificial intelligence. It's a coping mechanism. But if you check that there are the only nasty, stinky place is Trump's face. There's nothing, I don't think this is obscene. In fact, I think it's a good picture of him. It may be photoshopped. And I know most of you hate it. It's either this or I start drinking again. So, anybody still here? What time is it? I should quit doing this show. I've obviously lost my mind. So these right-wing influencers walked out of the White House earlier this year with their Epstein files bounded, waving them proudly to the media because Pam Bondi released the Epstein files. And then they went home with the Epstein files, and these right-wing bloggers had to do something even more objectionable to them than living next door to a person of color, and that is read. They actually had to read the newly released Epstein files. Turns out, nothing in them. Just redacted rehashes of the old stuff. So they were disappointed. FBI Chief Kash Patel and his untrusty sidekick Dan Bongino, who spent the past 5 years peppering Fox News with charges of a massive deep state cover-up of what's really in the Epstein files, well, they decided after they were found out and not exposing the Epstein files, they went on Fox News to maintain their credibility by doing what they do best, and that is lying. They appeared on Fox News and said, you don't need to see the rest of the files. It was suicide. Epstein wasn't killed. It was suicide. Dan Bongino promising surveillance video of Epstein's death will be released sometime in 2025. But he said, you don't need to see the surveillance videos. I saw them. I can assure you there's no cover-up. It was suicide. Kash Patel, who before becoming head of the FBI, sold pills online promising to remove the COVID vaccine from your bloodstream. He's now the head of the FBI. Kash Patel told Fox, quote, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was. That was a suicide. He was not killed, unquote. You know a suicide when you see one. Well, suicide for Kash Patel would be releasing the Epstein files, which he assures Fox News viewers will eventually be made public. Sure they will. Now, as for me, I couldn't care less how Jeffrey Epstein died. But I want to see the files. Patel and Bongino thought, after the files didn't get released, that they could shut down the charges of participating in the massive deep dark state cover-up that they told us about. They thought they could shut everybody up by just saying he wasn't killed. It was a suicide. Again, I don't care how Epstein died. And I don't want to know what those tapes are. I want to know who's on them. I don't need to see the tapes. I just want to know who's on them. That's all I want. I may have confused, just so I may have misspoke. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are saying it's suicide. He wasn't killed as part of a massive cover-up. If I misspoke and said Bongino and Kash Patel are saying it was suicide, that saying he was killed, I misspoke. They're saying the conspiracy theories are wrong. It was a suicide. Epstein wasn't killed as part of a massive cover-up, which they were implying before they were in positions of authority. So when Jeffrey Epstein was finally arrested, the FBI broke into his homes, opened the safe, and walked off with the tapes. We know there were tapes. I don't believe in massive conspiracies. I believe in human nature. I believe there are powerful men who, since the invention of audio and video, have placed hidden recording devices in hotel rooms, apartments, to capture other rich and powerful men indulging their illegal vices. They record these men indulging their illegal vices in order to parlay that compromat into handing over, money, their business, secrets, or if they're in politics, their votes. There's nothing original here. There's no deep, dark state. There's no conspiracy. Well, there's a little conspiracy. It's the conspiracy of human nature. Rich and powerful men have insatiable appetites that lead them astray. And people like Jeffrey Epstein make their fortunes first by satisfying those appetites and then leveraging the evidence of those appetites. Now, I'm not following the Diddy trial, but some say Diddy, like former FBI Chief J. Edgar Hoover, Vladimir Putin, former KGB Chief Vladimir Putin, and other members of organized crime, they tape powerful men in compromising positions in order to accrue more power and more wealth. See the P-tape that may or may not exist. Personally, I don't think the P-tape exists, but we're talking compromat. It's what greases the wheels of industry. Rupert Murdoch's News of the World would hire private investigators to hack voicemail messages left for and or by celebrities like Hugh Grant. Voicemail messages left for politicians or accused criminals in order to use those recordings to extort interviews with them. Remember that big scandal? It was in Great Britain back in 2011. Rupert Murdoch had to fire much of his top executives. And somehow he came out of unscathed. Media baron Silvio Berlusconi ended up becoming prime minister of Italy, partly because he had so many tapes on his opponents. And if you watch the Manhattan criminal trial, where Donald Trump was found guilty, and because of that he's now a convicted felon, that's how the National Enquirer and David Pecker work with the catch and kill. You pay $200,000 to dig up dirt on Donald Trump, and then you kill the story in exchange for a favor from the President of the United States. You dig up dirt on a big Hollywood celebrity who doesn't want the world to know that he's straight. I have evidence that you're straight. That would ruin your mystique. So you do a favor. That's how it works. Again, I don't believe there's a deep, dark state. I don't believe in massive conspiracy theories, but there is a conspiracy of really deep, dark, bad people. I believe ever since man invented shame, powerful people have kept secrets, and other powerful people got more power by threatening to expose the secrets of other powerful people. I'm not saying all powerful men do this. I believe all powerful men do this, but I'm not saying it because it would make me look petty. So I'm not saying it. I just believe it. I'm not saying all powerful men do that, but in Trump world, that's the coin of the realm. Secrets. In Trump world, it's not who you know. It's certainly not what you know. It's what you know about others. It's what you know about others, because you can't work for Trump unless he has something on you. And that's a fact. I've gone over the laundry list of everyone who works for Trump and how compromised they are in their marriages, in their sexuality, the police coming out to do welfare checks on the children and the wives, the domestic abuse. You can't get close to Donald Trump unless you're dirty, because that's the only way he can trust you. That's the only way he knows he can control you. Watch Serpico. Watch Serpico. Al Pacino plays a cop. It's based on a true story. Serpico exposed the corruption rampant inside the New York City Police Department. In the movie, Serpico refuses to take bribes. And his fellow cops, who are all on the take, say to him, look, you got to take the bribe. You don't have to keep the money. Donate it to your favorite charity. But take the bribe so we know we can trust you. Isn't that great? That's in the movie, Serpico. Take the bribe so we know we can trust you. By the way, that is how a lot of men in general behave. Not all, but a lot. Doing something dirty, immoral, and illegal in front of another man is a bonding exercise. It's something as anodyne as telling a joke at work in private that has the C word in it. You know, you tell that joke, so I know I can trust you. Or you go out to lunch, or you go on a business trip, you pad your expense account together. Let's charge this trip to a strip joint to the company together so we know we can trust one another. It's how some men, especially the rich and powerful, bond, especially at strip clubs. Strip clubs are bonding exercises for men, especially married businessmen with a lot to lose. They open themselves up. It's you know how when corporations go on retreats and they do trust exercises where you have to fall backwards so someone will catch you? That's what strip clubs are. Can I trust you, Larry? I'm married. You're married. Let's go to this gentleman's club together. And you're going to watch me go off into the champagne room with Desiree. I'm going to do this so I know I can trust you, Larry, not to tell my wife next week when you come over for dinner. That's how they bond. That's how some men bond. I know this personally because I used to work in a champagne room. I was a male stripper. And my name was Desiree. Secrets. Holding on to secrets is currency. I know you cheated on your wife. I know you charged that meal to the company and you should have. Shouldn't have. Those secrets are the engines of industry. So yeah, I want to know what's in the Epstein files. And I certainly don't want to see Prince Andrew having sex. I just want to know what Prince Andrew could be talked into doing, because there might have been, probably were, videos of him having sex. I just want to know. I want to know what Ehud Barak, Alan Dershowitz, Bill Gates, Woody Allen. I want to know what's in those files. I don't believe they actually did anything. I just want to know what Jeffrey Epstein had on people because of some videotapes. We know Hugh Hefner was videotaping people. This goes on all the time. It's what powerful men do to get more power. That's why I only make love with my clothes on, by myself. So I don't want to see Prince Andrew having sex. And by the way, not to defend Prince Andrew, he was never accused of pedophilia. That is kind of unfair. The woman who came forward, the brave woman who came forward, she just passed away. But when she had sex with Andrew, she was not a minor. She was being trafficked illegally by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. If Andrew did have sex with her, at the time she was not a minor, for what it's worth. But anyway, Prince Charles has been here waiting patiently. Your brother, Prince Andrew, any thoughts about his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson?
She is a foul-smelling variety pack of dripping lymph nodes and venereal discharges.
Very nice. Such a healthy family. Well, thanks to artificial stupidity, we're gonna end this. I'm going to give Elon Musk the last word. Elon, it's been a rough couple of days. You and Donald Trump fighting. I'm going to give you the last word. What do you think of Donald Trump?
He's a poopy pats, and I never want to play with him again. He'd better stay out of my fort. I built a fort, and he's not allowed inside of it because he's conceited. Everybody says that. It's not just me. Everybody dislikes him. I was his only friend, but not anymore. I hate him.
Now, just full disclosure here, that is not really Elon. That is not really Elon Musk. I'm using my patented artificial stupidity to make it look and sound like it's Elon Musk. But that is fake. That is completely fake. What else do we have here before I... Oh, well, as you know, Trump's Bedminster... Trump's Bedminster, New Jersey Golf Club got hit with a C rating last week from the Somerset County, New Jersey health inspector. The Somerset County, New Jersey health inspector called the Bedminster, New Jersey Golf Club the filthiest restaurant in all of Somerset, New Jersey. I'm not making that up. That is the God's honest truth. That's what they said. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it because I'm friendly with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I video her whenever she has a sleepover at the Bedminster, New Jersey Golf Club, and I keep the nanny cam on Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I have never seen any evidence of filth. All right. I'm David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong and protect the weak. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you enjoyed any of this, seek help immediately and hit the like button. Please share this. I can't do this without my listeners. Nobody's helping me. Robert Smigel and Sam Cedar, and that's it. The only reason you know about this show is because of my listeners. So it's not easy for this garbage to cut through all the noise out there. Apparently, people want to be entertained. So if you want to help me out, if you think I'm telling the truth, please share this with gullible friends. No, share this with your parents, your grandparents, your grandchildren, and your friends. I do tell the truth here. And when I make a mistake, I correct myself. Please leave a comment if you think I misspoke, because sometimes I do. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Thank you to Bob and Mila in the chat room. There were no technical problems today. I was anticipating major technical problems. So that little space in my brain that takes up my entire brain so I can be angry and brood, I was preparing to spend the rest of the day brooding about poor, pitiful me not being able to get the technology to work. Now I don't have that inside my brain. Here comes the hypochondria. It's going to be something a lot worse. Okay. Thanks again for listening. Thank you, Bob and Mila.